Some things end with us. I did not learn racism from hate. I learned it from home, from people I loved, from voices that raised me, from a house where certain things were not questioned. My nanny was born in 1919. Think about that. The world she came from never really left. If a black nurse walked into her room, she did not stay quiet. She made it known. Loud, angry, and unapologetic. And when you grow up around that, you don't see hate. You see normal. In our house, the Confederate flag wasn't something we debated. It was just there, hanging like it belonged. It meant heritage. It meant Southern pride. It meant we may have lost, but we ain't finished. We used to say that like a promise. We'll rise again, and I believed it. Not because I studied history, but because I loved the people who said it. And it didn't come from the stories only. It was in my bloodline. My third great grandfather, William Lafayette Heath, 6th Texas Cavalry Confederate, not a symbol, not a flag, a man who lived it, fought it, and believed in it. That wasn't distant to me. That was family. And that was something I could point and say, this is where I come from. And when you grow up with that, you don't question the flag. You feel it like you're honoring something, even if you don't fully understand what that something cost. I loved them, my nanny, my aunts, and the women who stepped in to raise me. But not all of them saw the world in the same way. One day I stopped by my Aunt Debbie's store. We were just talking, and she said something that stayed with me. She says, I love my mama, but I love my grandbabies more. And that didn't sound heavy at first until you understood what she meant. You see, her grandbabies were mixed. And in that moment, she was choosing the future over the past. I had another aunt who felt the same way, but maybe just a little bit quieter, maybe not saying it out loud. But when you see her with those kids, there was no hesitation. And I stood in the middle of that. Love on both sides, truth on both sides, and confusion sitting right in my chest. But I still flew the flag because I did not yet understand that something can make you feel like pride and still carry pain for someone else. And history doesn't stay in the past. It always shows back up. March 13th, 2020. I was in my living room, the flag still up, not bothering anyone. Then came the knock at my door. Do you know someone just tagged your apartment? I did not even know who Breonna Taylor was yet. But outside, things had already started to change. Poster board, googly eyes, messages. We see you. They knew where we parked. They marked our spaces. And for the first time, that flag wasn't just mine anymore. It meant something other to other people, and not the way I thought it did. So I called the manager and I called the police. I asked them, right there in front of everyone, do I need to take this down? They said no, freedom of speech. So I left it up. But life was already moving something towards me, and I wasn't ready for it. Her name was Shay, a 23-year-old. She had a bright future. You could just see it. She was building something. School, 2 business, and 2 lovely little girls. And those kids, they loved her. You could feel it in just watching them. She came by one day with a boot on her foot. She said she tripped over a toy. But I knew better. You learn to read people when you've seen enough and something wasn't right. Steph saw it too. We didn't even have to say it. You just felt it. That tension, that silence, that look in someone's eyes when they're trying to hold something together. And then Sunday came, 2:15 p.m. We were sitting inside, just a normal Sunday. Then we heard it. A body hit a wall. Not a stumble, not a fall, a hit. We called 911 at 2:20 p.m. that day. I handed the phone to Steph, and then I heard it. That sound, that pop. I told Steph, tell them that. They stayed on the call because life does not pause for tragedy. She had to get off the phone to run Robert to a dentist, so she left and I stayed. I looked out the window and there he was, walking calmly, holding those babies like something never happened. And he had the gall to smile and wave like we were just neighbors, like he did not just take a life. He went to the office, called his mom, and on those cameras they caught him saying, I think I'm clear, but he wasn't because we heard everything. The police came. They tried to get in, but he blocked the doors. Toys, trash, everything just to try to slow him down. And while they were trying, something else started happening. It came through the ceiling. Slow at first, and then steady. Blood from her apartment into ours. I went to the officer. He looked at me and said, are you sure you heard a shot? I said yes, because I did. Minutes later he came back to me. He did not even need to tell me the details. He just said enough. She was gone. And everything inside me shifted, and time passed. Court came. We were now the witnesses. Steph went first, then me. They asked me about the Navy. They asked me about my past. They asked me who I was, and I did not understand why. Not yet, anyway. Till later, Steph asked the DA, why were they asking me about the flags? And then it hit me. They knew. They knew I used to fly that flag, and they were going to use it to twist the truth, to plant doubt, to make it about race instead of what really happened. And in that moment, everything I thought that flag stood for collapsed, because it wasn't just history, it wasn't just pride, it was something that could be used to protect a lie, to bury the truth, to make people question whether life really mattered. And I saw it clearly for the first time, not through politics, not through arguments, through her blood coming through on my ceiling. And I made a decision right then and right there, with no speeches. I made no announcement, just truth. Some things get passed down, and some things deserve not to survive us, and some things, they really end with us. If you made it to the end, I really appreciate you. That story wasn't really easy for me to tell, but it's part of who I am, part of what I'm trying to change. I'm building something different now, through my art, through things I make with my hands, through the stories I'm finally willing to say out loud. So if you feel connected to this and you want to support what I'm building, I create handcrafted pieces, lamps, wands, things that carry meaning. But even more than that, just you being here, watching this, sharing it, that matters more than probably what you realize. Some things get passed down, some things deserve not to survive, and some things end with us.